Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So on the agenda tonight, we have Blackberry Smoke, and this is going to be coming from 2016, and this is from the Later with Jules Holland show, which is a cool live show that we have here in the UK, and they're going to be playing through Waiting for the Thunder. So let's get the guys up on screen and see how they get on.
Which one do you say? Maybe them with the power and the glory got more than they deserve. Why don't we stand by and do nothing while they piss it all away? And we hope we wake up in the morning to the light of a brand new day.
I'm just going to jump in here just before we're now getting into this more progressive riff that's going to be happening, and then a key solo, I believe. But just getting into the band, getting into the sound, this classic southern rock sound, a kind of bit of hard rock in there as well. But it's just all the basics done absolutely so solidly and so well. I just want to mention quickly about the overall sound, because I do look at videos from TV shows sometimes that have a really bad mix, whereas Jules Holland knows exactly what sound he wants on his TV show. And I just want to mention about Charlie's lead vocals, because in this track, he's got those lead vocals in the verse sandwiched between these instrumental sections. And it is so difficult when you're singing to sing with absolutely nothing behind it, and we've got quite a dry sound on the mic here, so just keeping your attention and not causing it to be analysed in too great a detail, because it might be a little bit pitchy, or the phrasing might be a little bit off, or crackly, the voice might be going a little bit. Everything is so solid here vocally between these instrumental sections, and it's so difficult to do that as a vocalist, and it's so difficult to do that without people really starting to see how everything drops out and suddenly the song loses interest, because normally a voice by itself has to be so good like it is here to keep your attention when there's absolutely nothing else going on. And while I'm on the subject of vocals, this is the kind of vocal setup that I love to watch and listen to, especially if it's got a bit of rock in there, because we've got two backing vocalists backing up that lead vocal, and it makes such a difference. We haven't got separate harmony lines going on here. They're both singing in the background the same harmony line behind that main vocal, but it just helps to double up the sound and make it even thicker vocally. And Obviously, it has to be absolutely on key to make it sound great and harmonize with that lead vocal. And finding players that can not only play proficiently and be technically great, but also that can sing on pitch and have got great voices in their own right, that's a rare thing, especially if you've got two guys who can do that. So it's great to see and great to listen to. It makes such a difference to the sound. Certainly the great southern rock bands, the great hard rock bands, and just rock bands in general that have done really well always have this ability to play live and have those harmony vocals. It adds so much. And just think of any band, you might not even like rock bands, but think of the ones that you do know and then analyze whether they have backing harmonies on their songs. And I guarantee you that they will have. The big names all have that ability to add another vocal line in there. Sometimes more than one vocal line, sometimes two. And then really, really popular bands, if they do it well, can have 3 or 4. Another thing that works really well here and in a live setting in general is having those keys in there. And I think we're about to go into a keys solo, but because when you're playing rock music especially that is riff-based, it means that the melodic content of your instruments are punchy. It's not like just holding a chord and just filling in all that frequency with guitars. You've got that punchy sound, single note. So it means that if you've got keys in there, it's going to fill in all of those frequency when the guitar is quiet, when it's having that little rest from each note that you're playing. So it's a great move to have keys in your setup if you can get it, especially as a rock band. And again, looking back throughout history, think of all the great rock bands, and there is pretty much always that organ or any kind of keys, even synth or strings. There's always something in there that's just really sitting in the background. We've got a great journey so far in this track because we've got the vocals, the instrumental, almost working as a response to the vocals, the way that the vocals sit in the middle of those instrumental pieces, kind of going back into the riff. And then we've got the riff after the chorus, again, adding in something different to make it interesting. And now we've just had a more progressive riff that we haven't heard before. So it's making that journey interesting, taking you down a different avenue. And now we're going to be getting into the solos, first by the keys, and then I think Charlie's going to be playing a solo after that. But let's get into it again. And there we have it. What a cool track and what a great performance as well. What I love about this performance is the simplicity of it, but also how well executed it is, because on that guitar solo, we've again got nothing in the background there. We've literally got all of the instrumental work going on outside of the solo. So it is like a voice just by itself. And you can imagine If Charlie messed up a note or missed a bend or anything, he didn't have a wet tone there, it's a pretty dry tone, it would just absolutely sound awful because there's nothing to hide in. You haven't got the rest of the band to try and, muffle what you're doing. So it's a great solo because of its simplicity, but also, like I said, the execution. And another great example of a solo that doesn't have to be a million notes a second to absolutely suit the composition with which you're playing it within. And nobody's going to listen to that solo and think, oh, that was totally out of place, he didn't play enough notes and it would have been a lot better playing something faster. It's not the way that music works. The way that music works is playing something to serve the overall composition, and that's exactly what every band member is doing here. And on that point, we've got Britt Turner on drums here, and listen to Britt's playing throughout the track. It is so straightforward but so solid, and that's the important part, is that solidity, giving that really strong foundation with the bass that then allows everything else to get layered on top of that. But just listen to that foot pedal sequence that he's got going on. And this is a foot pedal sequence that you will find in so many hits, so many rock hits, because it's so solid, but it lets the rest of the track breathe. Sometimes in heavier genres, you will find double foot pedal going on and, certainly a more busy foot pedal than you'd have maybe in southern rock and hard rock. Maybe more in metal is where that double foot pedal starts to come in, and it can sometimes overpower a song unless it's a really heavy sound. And a great example here that it just lets the whole track breathe, knowing what is going to suit the composition and your live performance. That is the key. It's not how much can I play, how much can I show off my own ability, it's what can I play with my ability that's going to make the song sound best. And that's exactly what each member's doing here. No egos on stage here at all. And you might have noticed the way that that lead guitar solo absolutely takes the place of that lead vocal that we had in that first verse, because we've got exactly the same scenario here where the lead guitar has no backing behind it. It's something that I mentioned on my videos about the guitar. When you've got a lead guitarist who can play really well, as we have got here, that guitar becomes the voice. So it's interesting to see that direct substitution of the voice for the voice that's now coming out of the guitar. Just to complete the shout outs, we've got Brandon Still here, who's on keys, and also Paul Jackson on rhythm guitar with those stellar backing vocals as well. And we've got Richard Turner here on bass, and this is probably the dream setup because his brother plays drums. So we've got Britt Turner on drums here, and those two, I always say about the bassist and the drummer, have absolutely got to be on the same page, and just having that understanding as brothers is absolutely the dream setup because you know that they're going to be so tight. And Richard on bass also adds in backing vocals like we saw earlier, so just add that in there. But this is a great video just to show a band that are technically gifted players, but they're absolutely doing the basics well, and that is the most important thing. They're showing that you don't need to have so many technical elements to kind of show off or make something sound good. If you just do the basics well, it is so much more effective. They've absolutely got their live performance down, and they're so tight when they perform live. And they have supported the likes of ZZ Top, Lynyrd Skynyrd as well, and also Government Mule. So those three bands, by the way, are on this channel somewhere. I don't know where, but I have covered them all in the past. And it just makes it really interesting to see and hear something that's so well put together, a solid song, but also such a solid performance. But thank you so much for suggesting this video for me to take a look at. Keep those suggestions coming in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!